Mr. Vivek Agnihotri needs no introduction. He made perhaps one of the most enriching and enlightening movies. Also, accurate portrayal, one would say, of the bigotry that Hindus suffered, specifically in the context of the Kashmir exodus. Now, viewers, Trump's announcement has already sparked a debate. Let's speak to somebody who actually brought the Hindu Holocaust out of the closet and presented it to us in a manner that has sparked now what appears to be even an international debate. So Vivekji, thank you for speaking to Times Now. As you know, Donald Trump, who is perhaps going to be running for against Mr. Biden in a year or so, has said that he endorses the idea of building a Hindu Holocaust memorial the moment he's elected in Washington, D.C. Is this something that you back? How do you read his comment?
See, first of all, let me tell you, for me, it is something which is very, very important. Because before the Kashmir files, in the West, there was an opinion that how can Hindus be victimized? And there was absolutely no awareness about the continuous genocide of Hindus for last 1,000 years. Now, this is something which the world ignored, our own people ignored, that we are the only society in the world, in the history of humanity, which was persecuted. And the genocide against it was committed for 1,000 years non-stop. And even after independence, it did not stop. It happened in Kashmir, in Bengal. What is happening right now is very alarming. Even in Northeast, lots of people were killed in Kerala. So collectively, this community has always faced persecution either by Christian society or by Islamic society or by communists or by Naxals. So after Kashmir files, what we decided, 36 organizations came together with me. And we kind of lobbied it, included Sikh organization, the World Sikh Organization, the Jews organization, the Christian organizations. And we said our first task is to create awareness amongst, of course, masses, plus policymakers. So we met lots of senators and congressmen, including even Indian congressmen who never take India's side, like Raja Krishnamurti and all. We convinced them. They came to my Capitol Hill function. In Capitol Hill, we did an impact event over there. So many congressmen came. Mark Warner, who was chair of Indian caucus, we met him. We made him aware through the Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora. Similarly, in Europe, UK Parliament, in Germany, in Netherlands, in all these places, and human rights. So without making it very public, we have been doing it for quite some time now. And this has definitely then, after the film came, then the masses understood that it's very important for the world to know. Otherwise, I'm sorry, I'm taking a little extra time because it's an important issue. Because in the West, the Western media and the Western lobbies created an impression that in India, Muslims are under danger because Hindus have been killing them for the last so many years. And nobody was aware about a continuous, longest genocide in the history of humanity of Hindus. So when we met all these policymakers, after that, lots of Hindu organizations and a lot of non-Hindu Indian organizations like the Christian organization, Sikh organization, along with Kashmiri, the Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, they started lobbying about it because American politics is all about lobbying and it's legal over there. And they lobbied very hard. You know, Democrats don't care about it. So obviously the Republican senators and congressmen helped us and they listened to it. And it has ultimately culminated into a kind of a prospect president of US talking about it.
Well, that's very interesting. You've talked about the background to this, but you know, the people who also question your motives are today questioning Trump's motives, saying that he's playing to the gallery, that Hindu Americans backed him strongly in what was a fairly tight race just a few years back. Unfortunately, ended up losing, unfortunate for him, of course. and that he's only doing this to appease a certain constituency, create that vote bank which matters in certain swing seats, which will be important in the end analysis. How do you respond to this?
See, I have a very honest answer. I'm not going to be politically correct here. I have a very honest answer. For my cause, okay, if anybody who takes my cause further, I have no problems with that person.
Right.
Now, Rishi Sunak became Prime Minister. I was extremely happy and I said the first Hindu this thing. I have no shame in saying we are a very peaceful, great civilization. We have suffered a lot. But after 1,000 years of kind of political slavery, when we found freedom, we gave equal rights to Christians and Muslims. So nobody has to teach us lessons. So if Trump is saying, some people may not like Trump, if Trump is saying, if he's talking about Hindu Holocaust Museum, why should I oppose it? Why should I have any problems with that? And as far as playing to the gallery is concerned, the best movies, in this world have played to the gallery. Some of the most popular novels have played to the gallery. Playing to the gallery is not really a bad word. What is Islamophobia? Islamophobia is also playing to the gallery political weaponization. So if more masses get to know about me, and I'm not saying I am the last person who's going to play victim card on this earth. I am against victim card, but people should also acknowledge that we were victims. Despite that, people who made us victims, we give them equal rights, because this is a human greatness which the world must acknowledge, whether it comes from Trump or anybody else.
Okay, so does it sadden you that this memorial will be built in Washington, D.C. if Trump returns? That is the belief right now, so we can't obviously say it's going to happen with certainty. But I want to ask you this, Mr. Agnihotri, because unfortunately, officially here in India, the government here at the center, whether it's Congress, BJP, any government, and we've had coalition governments also, they've not even described what happened to Kashmiri Hindus as a genocide. And until now have not even ordered a probe. As you know, the court has constantly thrown out applications, at least on two occasions, the Supreme Court has rejected any demand for a probe, left it in the government's domain, hasn't happened. So do you believe there is plenty of lip service on part also of the governments here?
Oh, of course, and I think somewhere we have failed to understand global politics. At a geopolitical level, we have failed. I'll tell you why, and I have a very strong political reason to that. The thing is, today Islamophobia is being used against India, and they use Islamophobia and they say India is a fascist country, Hindu majoritarian country, and Hindu supremacy, and all those things. Basically, they want to embarrass the right wing in America and in Europe, and in order to achieve that, they keep attacking India, and that becomes a global narrative. And because of that, Hindu population has to suffer. If you speak to Hindus outside India, in UK, US especially, even in Germany, they'll tell you how much they're suffering because of that. So if Indian government calls this a genocide, which it is, which I promise you very soon UNS has called it near genocide, but very soon will ensure that in next couple of years, at least UNO, I am telling you, mark my words, in couple of years, maximum 3 years, they will call it genocide. And many other countries will do it. I'm working very closely with some very strong human rights associations. If Indian government calls it a genocide before anyone else, then nobody will be able to use Islamophobia as a political weapon against the state of India. I'm not saying BJP or Congress, against the country called India. And it is very important that India doesn't become victim of Islamophobia, because the bill has been passed in Congress. They're waiting for the Senate to approve it. Even if they don't do, the international media has adopted the word Islamophobia, and they are using it legitimately.
My final question to you. The point is that some of the people who are criticizing Mr. Trump for making this announcement, and perhaps might even criticize the center if they were to announce such a move, are saying that, look, all Indians, and this is obviously true, you can't deny it, are not Hindus. There are Muslims and there are Sikhs, and there have been atrocities even committed on Sikhs in '84, as you know, atrocities on Muslims. Nelly massacre comes to mind immediately. So why not have memorials for them also?
I am not against having memorial for anybody. I am working for my cause.
Right.
Okay, I have no problems. You can, I mean, so many people get killed in India. For Sikhs, there is no memorial. I don't know if there is any in Delhi where the massive massacre took place. There should be one. For Great Action Day in Calcutta, there should be a memorial. There should be many memorials. But I am working to create a Hindu Holocaust or Hindu, like Madhya Pradesh government has given me approval on a genocide museum in Bhopal, and we are working very closely on it. Indian governments work very slow, so therefore it's taking little time for land and all that. But I told them, give me a very small piece of land and we'll manage it fully with our own efforts. And so that's a good news. It's going to be first genocide museum in India. And if it comes up in Washington, and as what Trump has said, tell me one thing, what's wrong if Trump has said it? Okay, it's either you believe in democracy or you don't believe in it. Okay, he's a free person unless and until somebody proves that what he's saying is illegitimate. He's working for the cause of my people. And therefore, I don't care where the help comes from.
I suppose you're right. I mean, the Jews who were fleeing the Holocaust in the Second World War came to America, lobbied very hard, and they influenced policy to even Israel, American policy to Israel. So what is wrong if someone makes an announcement such as this? I agree with you, and I'm very glad, Vivek ji, that you have not held back and tried to, as you have said in your own words, be politically correct, because then you would have been completely exposed as a hypocrite. I think you have been extremely bold, brave, and up with your conviction to say that this is my agenda, and if someone wants to push that agenda, I'm more than happy to ally with them. So I think that's a fantastic. My last point to you, Mr. Agnihotri, do you believe that this now entire narrative of perhaps growing Islamophobia in this country is slowly beginning to be exposed? Is that happening, or do you believe that we are a long way away? I mean, there have been many people, just read a book by Rajiv Malhotra ji, who wrote a book and explained how this narrative is built. More people are talking about it, are aware about it. Would you say that we are closer to this objective?
See, I believe enemy has to be defeated where the war is taking place. Okay, now the war is taking place on an international level. Islamophobia is not a domestic weapon. It is a global weapon. It is being used against Indians in Leicester. It is being used against you from outside. I know it, you know it. So they will go to defame you, demean you, and create a monster out of you. Because the entire Western society is going through a lot of guilt. It's a guilt-ridden society. So they are trying to create a psychological complex that don't stand with anybody who's an oppressor. The entire society, in fact, I interviewed Rajiv Malhotra, it's coming tonight, long interview. The entire society is being converted into a polarized world, a binary of oppressor and oppressed. That's why you see most of the people are playing this victim card. Now, because of the Middle Eastern money and because the lobbying is legal in US, they have been able to lobby very smartly. When I was there, Qatar gave $50 million to New York Times. Now tell me, will New York Times stand with you or Al Jazeera? They definitely are going to be against you because they are being paid to call everybody else a villain and call themselves the victim. The poor Muslims, they are enjoying all the perks. I mean, they're the richest people in the world. It's the fastest growing community in the world. Nobody dares say anything to them. They have been running campaigns all over the world, what they want to wear, what they don't want to wear. They have been running these campaigns of Sartan Se Juda, and people say they are victims. It's laughable. I mean, it's a comedy. So India has to defeat this narrative at the international level, especially this very far left media. I think we need to counter them very smartly, and I'm happy people like you are doing it.
We leave it at that, Mr. Agnihotri. Thank you for speaking to me. It's been interesting talking to you about this initiative. Thank you very much.